Hi, I would like, on behalf of the entire team, to thank the organizers of this panel for the opportunity to present some reflections on our project developed in Brazil. Legislations and codes of ethics have had much to say about consent and the rights of living patients and medical subjects. Although discussions about the rights of bodies after death and the possibility of post-mortem agents are increasing, there are still few definitions and agreement on the subject. Identified osteological collections have been the foundation for forensic anthropology since the beginning of the 20th century, but have not been the focus of attention till relatively. These collections are essential for developing and testing methods for estimations of sex, age of death, and stature, sometimes referred to as a biological profile in archaeological populations and forensic contexts. There could be no forensic anthropology without these collections with antemortem records. In a forensic investigation, information about sex, age of death, and stature can be compared to antemortem records to assist with identifications of the unknown individual. For political, social, and economic reasons, in some jurisdictions, ancestrality has been also considered part of this biological profile. Most of the methods used in international forensic anthropology were carried out on archaeological osteological collection, that is, from past populations with very different ways of life from today's populations, or even on populations not so old, but on osteological collections of some very particular cultural group, which would not reflect biological patterns compatible with all populations. Therefore, it's necessary that scientific research to validate the methods carried out and in the population in which the methods will be used to know the scope and limitations of these methods and the possibility of adaptation to obtain better results. There are two types of identified osteological reference collections based on anatomical sources and sanitary sources. Recently, both anatomical and sanitary-derived collections have been described as essentially obsolete for forensic applications. Many researchers think that new collections will solve all the bias of all collections. Regardless of the type of or source of the collection, the major issue that affects all of them is bias stemming from the collection process, which is politically, socially, and legally situated. None of these collections are free of bias, regardless of whether they are real bone or virtual, recently amazed or older, sanitary or anatomical. None are an osteological census or a random sample of human variation. However, bias is not necessarily a problem unless it goes unidentified. Failing to identify the biases inherent in these collections will necessarily produce erroneous results. The time of this collection period is only relevant in how it is associated with these factors. Secular changes or secular trends are non-genetic changes that occur across generations and have been correlated with changes in living conditions. Secular changes are ongoing and have been identified in stature, sitting height, leg lengths, and proportions, head size and shape, etc. From an ethical perspective, however, collections for the purpose of the study and research in forensic anthropology, when they can be formed, are generally made up of skeletons unclaimed by family members. This scenario is most of the time explained by the social condition of the family members. For many years, Professor Plains, coordinator of the Laboratório of Archaeological Studies at the Federal University of São Paulo, UNIFESP, together with the Superintendence of the Funeral Service of São Paulo, worked to receive an osteological collections from a formal donation from family members of the skeletons for academic research. However, the judge at the time of the negotiations, alleging religious explanations, was against any studies with the human body, including those from medicine. And up to now, it has not been possible to form an osteological collection from a formal donation for research purpose on forensic anthropology at the Laboratório of Archaeological Studies at UNIFESP. Thus, in 2019, the Institute of Teaching and Research in Forensic Sciences, based in Guarulhos, São Paulo, and the Teaching and Research Center of Forensic Archaeology and Anthropology at the Laboratório of Archaeological Studies from the Federal University of São Paulo, signed an agreement to develop a pioneer project which deals with the compilation and the organization of a documentary data in the mortem phase and preparation, curation, and bioanthropological analysis, postmortem phase. The sample size of the osteological collections is comprised of 143 complete skeletons from exhumations at Necrópole do Campo Santo Cemetery in Guarulhos. The main goal of the research project conducted by NEPAAF, entitled Validation Project of Metric and Non-Metric Methods in Forensic Anthropology, PROVAF, is to create an anthropological sample to maximize the research and training potential, adapting international standard procedures and methods to Brazilian forensic contexts. One aspect of this project includes considerations about ethical issues that emerged from international methods applied to identified osteological reference collections. The project includes teaching and training students in methods and practice in forensic anthropology and biological anthropology. The research procedures deal with mainly three phases and steps. The first and the third phases deals with data collection, including all the necessary documentation to provide the elaboration of the antemortem and postmortem databases. The antemortem database includes information about sex, age at death, stature, ancestry, place of birth and death, date of birth between 1901 and 2007, and date of death from 1986 to 2013, and cause of death obtained from the public records and documentations, such as obituaries and the death certificates provided by the Sanitary administration. The second phase is related to sampling, including sample size, procedures of laboratory analysis elaborated and developed by the research team from an operational model of protocol and analysis plan. A series of international methods used for estimating the biological profile of individuals are being assessed for their utility in a Brazilian context, including various methods for estimating sex, stature, age at death, and ancestry. A standard operating protocol was elaborated containing 2 morphological methods and 5 metric methods for sex estimation, 8 morphoscopic and 3 metric methods for estimating age at death, 1 non-metric and 1 metric methods for ancestry, and 4 metric methods for stature estimation for adults. The project is still in a very beginning stage. Up to now, we could perform 36 bioanthropological analyses, which are conducted blind by the examiners. After including the results in the postmortem database, the information from the antemortem database is finally included. Some disagreements between the results of the applied methods were found, evidencing the need to apply more than one method in the analysis of the biological profile, characteristics and constructions of a decision table. The metric methods applied for estimating sex clearly demonstrate that some bone measurements do not fit in international standards, and they do need to be calibrated for Brazilian context. Some discrepancies are verified mainly for the maximum femoral head diameter, the maximum iliac breadth, and the maximum pelvic height. Qualitative methods for age at death estimation were also subject matter of disagreement. The median age is usually much older, mainly for methods considering cranial suture closure. Age at death estimations methods that require prior identifications of ancestry have proved inadequate for Brazilian multi-ethnic context. The preliminary results obtained from the research project conducted by NEPAAF highlight the importance of human remains and the anthropological responsibility of academics to respond to human issues. Forensic anthropologists have an ethical responsibility to use the best and most rigorous methods available to pursue and investigate. Ethical considerations on the creation and curation of human skeletal collections and data sharing and access as one of the main issues of identified osteological collections. Osteobiography is a concept that has become popular in recent years, but it remains poorly theorized and has not had systematic methodological exploration. As it is currently used, osteobiography involves assembling all information available from the skeleton to create a life narrative for a single individual. This definition is certainly a stimulating starting point, but it does not do full justice to the concept's potential. Osteobiographers applying for a range of a new and or improved technology as DNA testing, computed tomography, 3D photogrammetry, and printing, among others, have or are likely to become methodological norms. However, bioethos for osteobiography has involved dynamic, ongoing efforts that respond to the introduction of technological and conceptual innovations must serve as a methodology as an essential and initial stage in research design. In this sense, bioethos for osteobiography can be better and more broadly defined here as the consolidations of a habit that gives rise to moral normative practice related to exhumations, documentation, analysis, and posthumous treatment of dead bodies. The research project developed by NEPAAF considers that skeletal collections are not populations, but rather highly biased samples of human variation. Bias is also an issue in what demographic information was collected, verified, and prominently curated with the collection. The potential and effective academic research contributions to forensic investigations document violence and human rights violations into archaeological context using identified osteological collections are unquestionable and applicable socially, culturally, and legally. Ethical implications in osteological research must minimize biological and sociological determinism and encourage the recounting of the details of scientifically organized and theologically arbitrary genetic variation. It also must consider regional or country-based specificities to an international code of conduct in order to fight against and eliminate racism, discrimination, social segregation, and violence against minorities groups, including murder and genocide. Thank you.